Chapter 5 Season 1 is coming to a close and Season 2 is just around the corner. As always, with the end of a season, people are constantly debating and asking one important question. How good was this season? Now, most people would instantly give you an answer without much thought. Because of this, I thought I would give my own personal thoughts and do a thorough retrospective of this season to finally answer the ongoing question. Was Chapter 5 Season 1 good or not? There's a lot of factors that come into play when determining how good a Fortnite season is, such as the map changes, loot pool, battle pass, new mechanics, updates, storyline, and more. In this video, I will mainly be focusing on the gameplay changes rather than storyline, but I will make a separate video for the storyline if you guys want to see that. But anyway, without wasting any more of your time, let's get right into this retrospective and answer the important question. Before I cover Battle Royale, I can't ignore the 3 new modes. With Chapter 5, Epic introduced a brand new Battle Royale map, Rocket Racing, LEGO Fortnite, and Fortnite Festival in just the first week, which I think is absolutely insane. First off, they released LEGO Fortnite, which is basically Minecraft but with LEGO assets. Fortnite went all out and gave every single original skin their own LEGO minifigures. Some of these figures look really good, and of course, some were unfinished.
Huh? Oh, come on! You gotta admit this is cool!
The game mode is really cool, and Epic absolutely crushed it. Unfortunately, so far it hasn't gotten any major updates and not much to do. There's no major boss fights or endings as of right now, but I'm sure they will get added in the future. Just a day later, Epic released Rocket Racing, which by the name is obviously a new racing game mode.
Nah, I never knew that.
And even transfer some Rocket League cars if you do play Rocket League. We also got a Lamborghini and McLaren collabs for the game mode, and these are some awesome looking cars. Unfortunately, all the cars are extremely overpriced, with the Lamborghini and McLaren costing just over $30 US. Other than that, your cars also worked in Battle Royale and Creative Mode, which I think is an absolutely amazing addition. Then, just a day later, we got Fortnite Festival, which is arguably my favorite game mode besides Battle Royale right now. The game mode is just like the Rock Band and Guitar Hero games, allowing you to play on either guitar/keytar, drums, vocals, and bass. It also has multiple difficulty levels for if you want a challenge. Fortnite Festival also gets its own mini battle pass and seasons containing jam tracks, instruments, and at the end you get a brand new skin. For the first season, we got the weekend. You can purchase many jam tracks in the item shop, with new ones being added each week to keep the game mode fresh. You can even use these jam tracks in Battle Royale and combine them with other players to create your own songs, which I think is amazing. These jam tracks are also being worked on as music packs for the future, so you are getting a lot from it. I really love this game mode, and I think Epic absolutely crushed it when making this. I think these game modes are a really good addition to Fortnite, and I'm excited to see what other game modes will come in the future. Now that I'm done talking about the new modes, I can finally get to Battle Royale. First off, I would like to cover the map changes. Now, obviously this season is different from most because this is a new chapter. We have a completely new and fresh map with a grand total of 11 new POIs and plenty of small landmarks in between. First off, I would like to say I think this map is great. I think this map is decent, and I think with more changes it can become even better. One thing I do feel is lacking with this map though is color. The map looks a lot more realistic, and I don't mind that. It doesn't bother me, but what made the Chapter 2, 3, and even the Chapter 4 map so special to me was the bright colors. That's one of the things that made the Chapter 2 and 3 maps pop, and I think that this map kind of lacks that. I don't mind the realism, but I do prefer the more cartoony and colorful maps. I do think that in upcoming seasons, when more biomes get added, this map will become really good. Now, other than the map, there are 11 different POIs. I won't go too in-depth explaining all of them, but I will highlight some of my favorites. First up, we had Lavish Lair. This is definitely a POI I landed a lot, and I think it is really awesome. The main building is huge and has plenty of loot you can find. You could also find the Oscar boss, who drops arguably the most overpowered gun in the game, but I will get more into that later in the video. Overall, I think this POI is awesome and I hope it stays around next season. Same can be said for Grand Glacier. This POI isn't as big as any of the other POIs this season, but I still think it held up well. You can find the boss Montague, who didn't drop a very good mythic, but the POI is still fine. Another few POIs I thought were good were Fencing Fields and Snooty Steps. Fencing was one of the most landed places on the entire map, and I often didn't do very well when I landed there, but I still really liked this POI. Really unique. You could find Boss Nisha, who dropped an amazing mythic AR. Then there's Snooty Steps, which was pretty decent. This POI was taken over by Peter Griffin, and he dropped the new mythic pump. Some other honorable mentions would be Classy Courts and Reckless Railways. Classy didn't have anything special, but was still a really good addition, and Reckless was pretty big and looked super awesome. At Reckless, you could also find the Valeria boss, and she dropped a pretty decent mythic SMG. There were other POIs such as Rebel's Roost, Ritzy Riviera, Pleasant Piazza, Ruined Reels, and Hazy Hillside, but I didn't land at them much. They were all decent besides Rebel's Roost, which I think was an absolute waste of space. Overall, I think the map is pretty good, and I'm excited to see the changes it gets in the future. Other than the map, there was also a brand new Battle Pass. The new Battle Pass was pretty decent too, and I think there are a few really good skins in it. We had Hope at tier 1, not my kind of skin, but it's alright. I do really like her emote though. Whoever made that emote and music was absolutely cooking. Vengeance Jones and Nisha are pretty cool as well. Montague is really cool and his diamond edit style looks amazing, I can't lie. I also can't forget Peter Griffin, one of the most anticipated collabs in Fortnite history. I know a lot of people love this skin, and this might be a controversial opinion, but I don't like this skin.
He was special.
Peter is cool, but he isn't my kind of skin, especially with cell shading. I'm not usually a fan of cell shaded skins, and I'm always disappointed when they don't have an option to turn that off. Other items look really awkward with him because of cell shading, and he definitely isn't my cup of tea. I do have to admit though, his emote and glider are really awesome. Oscar is really cool, and he kinda reminds me of Tony the Tiger. Other than that, at tier 100 we got Valeria, and I think she's really awesome. To wrap up the Battle Pass, we got Solid Snake from the Metal Gear Solid game. That's about it for the Battle Pass. Pretty solid.
Wow!
Hooray!
Next point I want to talk about is the loot pool. I think this loot pool is pretty good. We had 3 assault rifles, the Striker, Nemesis, and Enforcer. All of them are really good besides the Enforcer.
Brother, what's that? What's that, brother?
And most of the time I ended up mistaking it for a sniper. For mythic ARs, there's a mythic Striker AR which can be obtained from Nisha. Montague also dropped a mythic Nemesis which wasn't very good. The shotgun meta is very interesting to say the least.
You want to get one pumped?
Usually you would expect the pump to be used more than the auto every season, but this season is the complete opposite. The hammer pump is pretty weak, especially in zero build, while the frenzy auto is absolutely busted and hasn't exactly received a nerf. For mythic shotguns, there is a mythic frenzy auto, which is completely busted and can be obtained from Oscar. Peter dropped a mythic hammer pump, which just like the normal one, wasn't very good. The Hyper SMG and Thunderburst were good, and you could get a mythic Hyper from Valeria. We also had the Reaper Sniper, which was completely broken and a must carry. The Riot Shield was annoying in the beginning, but got nerfed a lot. The Ranger Pistol was alright, and the Grapple Plate is a really interesting movement item. I think the loot pool is really good, but I think it could definitely use some adjustments. Next up, I want to talk about the mechanics. With Chapter 5, we were introduced to a few new mechanics. The most major one, of course, being the weapon mods. In Vaults, you can find mod benches, which allow you to customize your weapons. Every new weapon has options for a moddable scope, magazine, underbarrel, and barrel. I won't go too in depth about it, but these mods are insanely game changing. Obviously, certain mod combinations are better than others, but these allow you to completely change up your playstyle and makes every game unique. Next up, we got Medallions. Medallions are dropped by the 5 bosses around the map, and when equipped, give you shield over time. But to make up for that healing, they also show your location on the map. Similar to bounties, having more medallions increased healing rate and cap, but also made your locations smaller. At the beginning of the season, these were completely busted, and having all 5 gave you infinite healing up to full shield. Luckily, they got nerfed, but they are still very amazing additions. Next mechanic we got were trains. All around the map are railroads, and the train continuously moves around the whole map. On the train, you can hack a chest, which gives you a ton of guaranteed rare loot and heals. Around the map, there are smaller train stations where the train will slow down, as well as a big train station in the middle of Reckless Railways. Trains are another really cool mechanic, and I'm sure they will stay the rest of the chapter. The final mechanic isn't as big as the others, but is still awesome. We got 2 new minor movement mechanics, hurdling and wall climbing. Hurdling was originally released with Chapter 4's launch, but was removed due to bugs, so now it is finally fixed. In builds and around the map, you can find walls and ledges, allowing you to climb over multiple walls, pretty much just improved mantling. Again, these aren't major movement changes, but are still useful in many situations. The final point I want to discuss is the updates. The first update was for Winterfest. In this update, they unvaulted the snowball launcher and the snowman for Christmas. They also added a small winter island above Lavish Lair and updated the floating island to Crackshot's cabin. Because it was winter time, Epic of course went on break for about 45 days before getting the next update. Between the Winterfest update and the 28.10 update, there were a few small hotfix updates bringing back the birthday presents, Icy Grappler, Lock-On Pistol, and the Crash Pad Jr., but also added 2 brand new items, which were the Enforcer AR and the Flowberry Fizz. Because of the 45-day wait between updates, this update got stale kinda quickly. Then we got into the 28.10 update, which released the secret skin, Solid Snake. In this update, the top area of the snow biome by Lavish melted and it became a nice forest biome, which I think definitely improves the look of the map. Besides the map, all they added was a reskin of the cardboard box and the Predator Mythic cloaking device, labeling them new. Other than that, they unvaulted the Anvil rocket launcher and business turret. The previous 2 updates were completely lackluster, so Epic really had to redeem themselves, and sure enough, they did. For the 28.20 update, we got a full-on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles collab with a mini battle pass including Shredder, as well as 4 mythic weapons. Every game, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles supply drops would spawn, giving you either Raphael's size, Donatello's bow staff, Michelangelo's nunchucks, or Leonardo's katanas. All of them were the same, but reskinned and worked very similar to the kinetic blade from Fortnite Chapter 4 Season 2 Mega. These mythics allowed you to do a short dash and were amazing for movement. Other than that, they also unvaulted the driftboard, my favorite vehicle of all time, as well as the pizza, one of the best healing items ever. Epic crushed it with this mini event and gave us a nice breath of fresh air. After that, we got the final update of the season. For the 28.30 update, the main stuff we got was Festival Season 2, replacing the mini battle pass and the weekend. We also got a new speedrun mode for rocket racing, which is pretty cool. We didn't get much new content in Battle Royale, but we did get the new Odyssey quests, which tasked us to put together the mosaic as a lead up to Season 2. We also surprisingly had a mini event. Over the last few days, cracks started appearing next to ruined rails, and then a giant titan hand rose from the ground holding Pandora's box. Another fun fact, this is the first mini live event we have ever gotten since Collision, which was 2 years ago. Pretty much the entire community banded together to break the chains and drop the box, which had 5 trillion HP. Surprisingly, the community managed to break it down in just 22 hours. This mini event was absolutely insane, and the hype for Season 2 absolutely skyrocketed. That was pretty much all we got in the update, but it still ended off the season extremely well. The first few updates were obviously completely lackluster, and of course Epic managed to redeem themselves with an amazing TMNT event and an amazing Season 2 lead up. Now that we are at the end of the video, it's time to finally answer the question, was Chapter 5 Season 1 good? First off, we got 3 new game-changing game modes, which in my opinion, absolutely revolutionized the game. The map is really good, and there are multiple memorable POIs in my opinion. There are plenty of new bosses, all with interesting and awesome mythic weapons. Weapon mods and medallions completely change the way the game is played and results in unique fights every time, and loot pool and battle pass are good. Epic may have had some lacking updates, but made up for it with an awesome mid-season TMNT event, and the Season 2 build-up is some of the best season build-up we have had in a very long time. With all things considered, I think this season is really good. Is it the best? No. Is it terrible? Absolutely not. I've had plenty of fun this season, and I'm sure Season 2 is going to be even better. Let me know your thoughts on this season in the comments, and have an amazing day.